Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to discuss the topics of chapter 4, torque. The first topic is torque, the second one is center of mass and center of gravity, and couple of forces. Torque is basically the turning effect produced in an object about a fixed point or about the axis of rotation due to the applied force, due to the external applied force, or it can be defined as the turning effect produced in an object about a fixed point or axis of rotation due to which thing? Due to the applied force. The turning effect produced in an object about a fixed point or axis of rotation due to the applied force. Mathematically, the vector can be written as R cross F. Here F represent the force which is acting and R represent the moment arm. Moment arm can be defined as the perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation to the line of action of force. Moment arm can be defined as, it should be considered I, moment arm, the perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation to the line of action of force. For example, consider that it's a door and it is rotating about a fixed point, that is, it's an axis of rotation. So the force is applying in such direction. The force is applying in this direction. So that will be in this direction if someone is turning into the board. Then the perpendicular distance, the line of action of force is this point, and the axis of rotation is this. So the moment arm will be the distance between these 2 points. The distance, the perpendicular distance, because the line of action is acting in this direction and this is also, so the angle between them is also 90, and the angle between the force and moment arm is also 90. So we can say that the perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation to the line of action of force, तो ये perpendicular distance हमारे पास क्या है? That is basically moment arm. Now it's in magnitude form, we can write it as RF sin theta. RF sin theta. Here the theta is the angle between R and F. Theta is the angle between R and F here, which will be created here. Theta is the angle between the line of action of force and the moment arm. And magnitude form it can be written as. Now torque is a vector physical quantity, so its unit is Newton meter. Its unit is Newton meter. The magnitude of torque depend upon, it is cleared from the mathematical equation that the magnitude of torque depend upon the magnitude of moment arm, the magnitude of the perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation to the line of action of force, and the magnitude of applied force in the angle between both of them, the angle between the line of action of force and the moment arm. Its unit is Newton meter. Now, how many types of torques? it also, the magnitude of torque also depend upon the angle between the line of action of force and the moment arm. We have two types of torques. That one is positive torque, or you can say clockwise, and the second one is anti-clockwise. Clockwise torque is conventionally considered to be negative and anti-clockwise is conventionally considered to be positive. Anti-clockwise, clockwise is just like same to the direction of the needles of a watch and of a clock, and anti-clockwise it is basically opposite to the direction of that of the needle of clock. So clockwise is conventionally considered to be negative and anti-clockwise is considered to be positive. The second topic is center of mass and center of gravity. So center of mass can be defined as, it is basically the center of mass, it is basically a point, the center about which the whole mass of the object is equally distributed. Here we can define it as center of mass can be written as Cm, a point about which the whole mass of the object is equally distributed in all directions. Here we consider the center of mass of a regular object, that is, we consider a regular figure, that is a circle which is regular. Now what will be its center of mass? Its center of mass is considered to be its center, about which the whole mass of the object is equally, of such an object is equally distributed. So this will be called the center of mass. It is basically that point about which the whole mass of the object is equally distributed in all directions. Now the second topic is center of gravity. Center of gravity. Here is a little bit difference between center of mass and center of gravity. Center of gravity, it is basically that point about which the whole weight of the object seems to be acted, about which the whole weight of the object is considered to be or act upon that particular point, or the whole weight of the object is acting at particular point of that particular object. So center of gravity is basically a point upon which the whole weight of the object acts and vertically downward direction. Upon which the weight of the object acts. So weight is a vector physical quantity. Vector, it's a force which is acting at a particular point of an object. So it is vertically directed downward. It will be directed vertically downward. So the center of gravity is basically a point about which the whole weight of the object acts to. About which the whole weight of the object acts in vertically downward direction. It is basically the whole object is composed of large number of particles. So obviously each particle will have some specific weight, and each each point will experience a weight which is acting always downward. For example, we have an object and here we consider points. So each of these points will experience a downward weight, a force which is acting downward. So, but here we consider a point, we assume a point that the whole weight of such an object, is acted upon at a single point of such an object, which will be the sum of all these forces, that the whole impact or the combined effect of all these forces is experienced by a single point of such an object. Here we assume that center of gravity is a point upon which the whole weight of an object is acts in vertically downward direction. The weight of an object always acted in downward direction. So here the weight which is acted upon a particular point, it will also be in vertically downward direction. The next topic is couple. It should be kept in mind that here we are considering weight and here we are considering mass, that the whole mass of the object is equally distributed. But here we are considering a point upon which the whole weight of the object are assumed to be acted. यहाँ पर हम assume करते हैं कि the whole weight of the object किसी खास point पे act कर रहा है. And it should be kept in mind that that object is composed of large number of particles and each point will experience a weight. Each point will experience a weight which is acting downward and acting down in downward direction. But here we assume that there will be as a whole impact will be experienced by a single point, and that particular point is called center of gravity. The next topic is basically couple. Couple is basically a pair of unlike parallel forces. Which have the same magnitude, but their line of action is different from each other. Then a pair of unlike parallel forces which have the same magnitude but have different but not acting along the same line. So a couple of forces or just couple can be defined as it is basically a pair of unlike forces which have the same magnitude but they are not acting along the same line. They can be the best example of a couple forces, that is the steering wheel and a double arm spanner. Then a double arm spanner, here a person is interested to untie a nut and he will exert some kind of forces. So while to open that particular nut, it will exert in this direction, that it will exert some two forces with the help of these two hands double. That's why it is called double arm spanner. So it will move the right hand in such a direction and it will move the second hand in backward direction. It will move the forward direction and it will move in the backward direction, but their line of action is not the same. But their line of action their line, that one is acting forward and one is acting downward, but their line of action is not the same. So both will have the same magnitude. Both will have the same magnitude. So the double arm spanner is the best example of couple, and steering wheel is also an example of couple of forces. Dear students, if you are facing any kind of difficulty and such topics, then your response